Hello friends. Today I'm going to talk about one of the ways that I try to be proactive and take care of myself and counterbalance the effects of seasonal affective disorder or the depression that I experience. I haven't necessarily been diagnosed with them, but it's quite obvious. And in the winter months, my whole mindset changes, my whole outlook on life is very grim. And I don't want to take medicine if I don't have to. So I am trying to be proactive in how the activities that I do in my days in order to give myself a more hopeful and more positive outlook on life. And one of them is winter sowing. So winter sowing is really amazing because even though it's freezing cold outside right now, and I've got even my coat on inside, I can start gardening. I can get these seeds ready even though it's cold outside. So my neighbor has these water bottles that she saves for me, and I reuse them and put them as my winter sowing things. You can use any sort of water bottle or translucent milk jug or whatever, unless it had soap in it or, bleach or something. You wouldn't want to use that. We want to reuse the plastic as much as possible. So this is a fun way to do it. And I get to plant seeds even in the middle of winter. So I poke a hole in it and cut it with scissors around so that it's still attached, but I can easily work with it. I put in moist potting soil, and I have drilled holes in the bottom, 2 holes, so that the water will drain out. It won't drown the seeds or get too soaked with water. And I have the top off so that I'm going to actually put them outside in the cold, and the water and the rain and the snow will come in, and it will keep it replenished and hydrated, but it will drain out at the bottom to make sure that it doesn't get too much water. It has its own little greenhouse effect. And the fun part about it is that even though it's too cold to be working outside in the garden, I can put these seeds out in the winter, and mini seeds need that cold period in order to for the seed to, I don't know how, understand that it's time for it to grow in the spring. It needs that cold period to know that it is in its perfect growing environment. So any perennial seeds, maybe not any, but most perennial seeds need that cold period, and many annuals that will just spread their own seeds, self-sow their seeds, and they're used to being outdoors in the winter, that the seeds are fine being frozen in the winter. They really benefit from having a cold period because it helps them, it gives them the clue that they are in the right place. So I'm going to try to take that outlook in my life while I'm in this waiting period and it feels too cold for me, but it helps me know that I'm in the right place. Anyways, not to get too philosophical about seed sowing, but I opened this up, put in my moist potting soil, poked some holes, maybe 2 or 3 holes in it, and put my seeds in, pinched the soil over the top of them, and now I will take some duct tape and seal this up so it will be a nice greenhouse effect for it. I got these seeds from a local school teacher, and she has a Facebook page called Agra Obscura, and she has all these fascinating plants, including one that you can touch, and the leaves respond to touch by shriveling up for 24 hours, and then they come back up again. That's called the Tickle Me plant, and so she's given me those seeds as well. I'm so excited. But she's giving me seeds this time for passion flower, which is my favorite flower. It is crazy looking, and she has a hardy version of that seed that grows here in Zone 7 in Memphis. So I'm going to try planting that, but she suggested that I go ahead and do the winter sowing method so I can have it outside and it will have its cold period. I did this last year, by the way. I didn't mention that. I did this last year and had, I don't know, maybe 100 something reused plastic bottles out there and milk jugs and everything, and just left it out there all winter, and it snowed on it and it froze it and it rained on it. And in the spring when I went out to get my garden ready, they were just right there. I could see that the little greenhouse effect was working and the condensation was helping it stay moist, so I didn't have to go out and water it at all. And then when the time was right, the seed knows when to sprout. And some of them sprouted early spring, some of them sprouted late spring, but they all sprouted. I probably got 80% success rate with that method and didn't have to do any, high maintenance protection of the seeds. So it was a really beautiful and easy and rewarding way for me to start sowing when it was too cold to actually be out there much and have the seeds thrive. So now that I've got the seeds in there, I'm going to take a piece of duct tape. If I can find it. Here we go. I'm going to take a piece of duct tape and seal it up. Normally, I like to have, I cut the little strips of plastic mini blinds that I'm not using and write the label on that and put it inside, but I can't find where I put them. I'm not sure if you're like me. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to organize and put this away and then not know where I put them. I'm sure they're tucked away somewhere in a very clever place. But I will find them later. Anyways, right now I'm writing it on the outside. I have a feeling it might wash off in the rain, especially if I put it up here, it'll wash off on the rain. So we'll see. Maybe I'll put all the passion flower in one place and all the moonflower in another place and write that in my garden journal so I know what's what. All right, thanks for joining me. I hope you try it out. It's really, really fun. Whether you have seasonal affective disorder or not, it is fun to start planting something in the winter that will thrive at just the right time. Thanks. Bye-bye.